The Malibu coast is home to some of the best waves in the world, some of the most diverse wildlife, and looks out at the Channel Islands. Similarly to every other place on the planet, chemistry is always occurring here. But the chemistry I'm about to tell you about might not be the kind you're thinking of right now. If you look at the areas surrounding the CSUCI campus, you'll see acres upon acres of farmland producing the crops that feed us. One of the ways these farms used to produce strong crops was with a chemical called DDT, or dichloro-diphenyl trichloroethane. Before this chemical was banned in 1972 for the disasters it caused wildlife, Montrose Chemical Corporation dumped approximately 40,000 pounds of it into the Palos Verdes Shelf, Santa Monica Basin, and San Pedro Basins every year. So why is this important? This chemical doesn't just sit in the barrels it was contained in before the 1970s, and a lot of times DDT was dumped into our oceans without any kind of container. This means that it is continuously being discharged into our waters and therefore the fish we eat. When marine animals, birds, and humans ingest this chemical, it bioaccumulates in the fatty tissues of our bodies because it has something called lipophilicity. Bioaccumulation is when a substance is rarely excreted and concentrations of it in our bodies tend to increase throughout our lives. Lipophilicity is the ability of a molecule to mix with an oily substance but not water. Substances that have this property are nonpolar, and even though DDT is technically a polar molecule because of its structure, it acts like a nonpolar molecule. This is the structure of DDT. The fatty tissues in our bodies are also considered nonpolar because they have no partial positive or negative charge, and like dissolves like, meaning it is extremely easy for DDT to dissolve here. This is the structure of the fatty acids present in the fatty tissues of our bodies. The structure of this molecule can be cis or trans. Once our bodies break down DDT within these tissues, it turns into something called dichloro-diphenyl dichloroethylene, or DDE, which is persistent in our bodies and has adverse health effects on life. The EPA states that DDT contamination doesn't pose significant health risks to humans engaging in water activities or consuming fish, but what about the wildlife living with it floating around in their waters? It is suggested to be toxic to marine animals, causing mammals like seals and sea lions to be at a higher risk of developing liver tumors, and the eggshells of birds to be thinner, weaker, and therefore decreasing their birth rates. Humans exposed to this while working with it have reported nausea, tremors, and incoordination. Since DDT bioaccumulates in our bodies, we can transfer a lot of it to our offspring. Breast milk is one product of our bodies that can transfer substantial amounts of DDT to offspring both in humans and other animals. Additionally, although there haven't been many studies on it yet, fat stores are used in our bodies during times of starvation. So, if there are harmful chemicals resting dormant in our fat tissues that could be discharged into our bloodstream if used for food, they may be toxic to organs like our liver and our nervous system, just as they are for any other organism. It has also been suggested to inhibit the movement of sodium through the body, which plays a central role in enabling physical coordination and cognition. A lab in San Diego, California, is beginning to analyze the effects of DDT on liver and muscle tissues from individual fishes. They will use this data to see how the toxin moves once it's in the environment and to determine the safety of our California seafood products. This is also going to be helpful in minimizing the harvest of potentially unsafe seafood. Thank you for listening, and hopefully this doesn't hinder you from spending time in the water if that's what you're into.